Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you're doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. Hope everyone's doing well. Everyone's doing fine this Saturday morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And please don't forget to smash a like, guys. If you guys can do that for me, that'd be absolutely fantastic, guys. Absolutely brilliant. Now, let's get straight into it. Obviously, it's been a week to forget for Manchester United, of course. Unless you're Scott McTominay, of course, who has just won the Scudetto. For the first time, being MVP, Player of the Year for Napoli. And I would congratulate him on his success, obviously leaving Manchester United in the way he left Manchester United. He wanted to leave Manchester United, went to a league that suits his style, to be honest with you, and it suits his football. Serie A is not as strong as the Premier League, so I would say that it's good for him that he succeeded, because he always gave his all for Manchester United at the end of the day, and just obviously Man United are a toxic mess, so that is the problem with Manchester United at the end of the day. But thank you so much everyone for joining me. Obviously it is all about Manchester United, and it is about what we're going to do in the future. Where do we go from here? What transfers are we going to go after? Now look, Man United are looking at other teams within the football hemisphere, so to speak. For example, Crystal Palace. And there is news about Crystal Palace and Manchester United still are after Walton and Mateta. If Manchester United don't go out get to the striker targets that they want, they will go after the likes of Mateta. They will go after the likes of Wharton as well in midfield. Now that Ederson could be off the table due to no Champions League football, Manchester United will be looking at Wharton. But at the same time, we need to look at Crystal Palace in a way that, well, they're in Europe now. So it's going to be difficult. They're in Europe. We're not, which is crazy when you think about it. When you think about Man United not in Europe, but Crystal Palace are. It is embarrassing. The whole thing has been an absolute shambles. The whole way this football club has been run is an absolute shambles. Do you know what I mean? And to be honest with you, and what I would say is that I just hope that we get a step on and we start moving and we start making moves. And obviously, Anthony scored again yesterday, cutting left foot. Obviously, I don't know why Spanish defenders are not aware of this. I don't know why, guys. I have no idea what whether they're watching TV or not. But he always does the same thing, isn't it? I don't think the Spanish defenders are really good, to be honest with you, if I'm being real. But yeah, a lot has been going on at Man United this week. Of course, the dramas of Wednesday, of course, and the breakdown of Wednesday, the fallout of Wednesday has been an absolute shit show, to be honest with you guys. It's been an absolute madness at the end of the day. And we're going to have a lot of noises in the summer. We're going to have a lot of rumblings and transfer news and manager situations, manager arguments and stuff like that over the next few weeks. Of course we are. We're expecting that. I expected that before we lost the Europa League final. Of course I did. I knew this will happen at the end of the day. Good morning, Freya. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, Steve. Big up, Sal. Big up the community. Big up, mate. Big up. Palace will request for big sum for both Matata and Wharton, respectively. They will do, right? This is why Manchester United need to get a move on. They need to work on a deal. Man United are still very interested in Wharton. Wharton would like a move to Manchester United despite the European football, as well as Matata. Manchester United obviously are Manchester United. Crystal Palace are obviously Crystal Palace. There's obviously going to be still an interest in Manchester United. If Manchester United come calling, of course, the traction is wages as well. The wages that Man United will be able to offer. But obviously, Matata will cost about 60. Wharton will cost about the same. So it's going to be very expensive. This is why I was saying yesterday that even though there is FFP and PSR, maybe we should just take the risk and just spend the money. And we deal with the repercussions afterwards. We deal with the fines and the points deductions and stuff like that afterwards. We deal with that afterwards. Maybe we should do that, But you know what? Again, Man United fan base, the revisionism is crazy. Obviously, people coming back with the Scott McTominay thing and, we should have sold him. Da, 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 da. Let me get this clear. First of all, Eric Ten Hag didn't want to sell McTominay. It was an Ineos decision. Whether we wanted to sell him or not, it was at Man United 7 years, and many people agreed that we should sell him. We didn't win anything much with him. So, you know what? At the end of the day, we didn't win the league. We didn't do anything like that. So, at the end of the day, this revisionism needs to stop. And it's just ridiculous, childish situation at the end of the day. Antonio Conte, serial winner. Congrats to McTominay for playing player of the season. Absolutely. Morning, Sal. It's scary when Liverpool are trying to sign Wirtz and how we are fallen. Natty, what can I say? Liverpool have already signed Frimpong. They're about to sign Florian Wirtz, of course. Where does that leave Manchester United? Where are we now? All we're going to do is fall behind. But don't worry, good old Jim, isn't it? Good old Jim is, we got a plan. We got a plan. We're Manchester United. We got a plan. That is all it is at the end of the day. When Liverpool are already champions and they're moving further away from us. Look at the way they dealt with that Trent Alexander-Arnold situation. Arnold left the club, and I said it weeks ago that Frimpong is going to Liverpool before he even signed for Liverpool. I told you guys that, didn't I? I said he's going to Liverpool, and because they've lost their white wing back, the perfect replacement for him would be Frimpong. And they've already signed Frimpong, and now they signed Florian Wirtz. And where does that leave Manchester United? You're looking at Manchester United at the moment, and you're looking at Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, Newcastle, even Tottenham now, and Arsenal. And you're going to look at us and say, where do we fit in? This is why the only way we're going to come back is if we spend a lot of money and take the risk rather than blaming FFP and PSR for all this nonsense at the end of the day. Good morning, Sal. Is there any news about Goncalo Ignazio? Nothing at the moment, Nutty. Nothing at the moment. But Man United are aware of Ignazio, very aware of Ignazio. But don't be surprised, Nutty, if you hear something in the next few weeks. The transfer window opens on the 1st of June to the 10th of June. Then it closes and then it reopens again, of course. Yeah, happy to see Conte get the league win over Inter. There you go. Big up, Pearl. Kenny, good old Jim will fix this. Absolutely. We wish. Big up, everyone. Big up, Randy. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. We have to sell the Deadwood players more than anything. I think domestic champions need to straight to the Champions League, not the third, fourth place. That bullshit. I mean, that's the rules, isn't it? Champions League has become a game of money. I would stress that Man United won the treble when we weren't the champions. By the way, we came second in the league the year before, and we qualified for the Champions League, and we ended up winning the treble, which is amazing, isn't it? At the end of the day, the first time we weren't the champions, we go to the Champions League and win the Champions League, of course. But that is just the way it is. It's a money thing. It's a money grabber. The one thing is, I think what Champions League football is that they're trying to get all the big teams in at once. They're trying to get everyone in. They want to get the AC Milans, the Juventus, the Inters. They want to get the PSGs. They want to get the Real Madrids and the Barcelonas. Because before it used to be the champions who qualify for the Champions League, and a Barcelona would miss out on the Champions League, for example. Yeah, for argument's sake, it was a Barcelona would miss out. Or, if it was Italy, a Juventus will miss out, and AC Milan go through, or the other way around. And if it was a Premier League, Arsenal will miss out, and Man United will go through. It used to be like that. Some may say that's fair game. I just feel like that the Champions League has become just a cesspit of a money-making machine, and that's what they want. This is why they wanted the Super League, didn't they? They wanted the Super League, of course, and this is why they wanted that, of course. Good morning, Sal. Edward would have bought Gutierrez or Osman at any cost. I don't know. Gladiator. I don't know about that. Signed a lot of Deadwood. You know what I mean? If we sell Bruno, who would you want to be replaced? I mean, with that money, Natty, what I would say is that Man United could buy about 3 players with 120 million if it does reach that level. If it's 100 million, if it does reach that level. If it's 100 million, Man United could buy in a couple of good players. 100 million could get us Gutierrez and Cherki. That can get us that. And then we got Kuna, Gutierrez and Cherki. And then all of a sudden you're looking at Man United and you're thinking, wow, look at that. I know it is. I know it's, at the moment, we're not feeling really up for it. We're not feeling good. We're feeling down. We're feeling like, nothing's going to get well. It's the end of the world and stuff like that. But it's not. That's one thing we have to understand. And, they're going to have to, I think Ineos know that they are on a very, very tight thread here. They're on a very, very tight thread. They know, of course, that if anything happens, if they don't perform this summer, they know what's coming for them, of course. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, guys, absolutely. They know that the fan base are very disillusioned and angry. Congratulations, Scooby-Doo. Absolutely. Congratulations, Scott McTominay. Big up, Scott and Gilmore as well. Stay there. We need established players out in their prime. How many prime players do we have? We don't have enough, Steve. I agree. We don't have enough. This is why Cunha's more or less in his prime, which is a good signing because he's in his prime. Wharton's coming towards, that he's a young player, but Wharton has got Premier League experience. So Wharton would be a good buy because of his Premier League experience. Edison would have been a perfect buy, but I don't think Man United are going to get Edison now because of the Champions League football. Gutierrez is in his prime. We need a player like that, but, it's going to be very difficult to get him now. You can't win anything just by cutbacks and kids. You can't. At the end of the day, you do need a little bit of element of experience in there because it's disrespectful to the league to go into the season with a bunch of kids. And you know what I mean? And people say, we did it in the class of 92. We did it in the class of 92 with Roy Keane, Andy Cole, Eric Cantona, Steve Bruce, Peter Schmeichel, Ryan Giggs. We did it with that, of course. So, it's a completely different scenario here, and I just feel like it's just crazy, isn't it? Congrats to McTominay and Napoli. Congrats to them, of course. Big up Napoli. Bruno is going to leave. Yep, Bruno looks like he's going to leave. If we sell Bruno, how can we guarantee we'll get good players? I don't know if most players want to come to us, to be honest. Trina, this is the big question, isn't it? This is what they say, the $1 million question, whether Man United will spend the money on good players. Now, you know what? Football's a big risk anyway, isn't it? Whether you keep the manager, whether you sack the manager, whether you spend the money, whether you don't spend the money, there's always going to be an element of risk on football. This is why we've got this conveyor belt of experts at Man United: Wilcox, Barada, Brailsford. All these people, of course, we've got all these people at the helm, of course, and that's their duty to get the right players for the football club. That's why they get paid the big bucks, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, look, we know that certain players are good players. We know that. We have a good bunch of young players coming through as well. Let's not forget about our young players. We do have a good bunch of young players coming through, and I would like to see 5 or 6 of those integrated into the team as well. It's not just about signing players. It is also about giving the young players a chance as well and letting them shine as well. That is very important for Manchester United's heritage as well, But we do need a bunch of experienced players as well. I would say a spine in the team. So basically the goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and a striker. So the whole spine of the team needs to change, in my opinion. We have no real leaders in our team when now that Bruno is not going to be captain if he leaves the football club, of course. Who's going to be the captain of Manchester United? Where do we go from here? Who's the guy who's going to take the mantle? That's what I would say, guys. Absolutely. Gladiator King, should we be concentrating on the league or cups next season? I think what Man United need to do, having fewer games, is basically just concentrate on moving up that league. The cups is a lottery because obviously you might draw Liverpool or Arsenal away from home. It's going to be difficult. Luck plays a part in the cups, but there's no reason why Man United can't go and win a cup. At the end of the day, if we win the League Cup or we win the FA Cup and get a respectable position in the league. And, with one game a week, if we get 5 or 6 players in, football is a really funny game, football, You could go from, the bottom. We're still Man United at the end of the day. And if we make the right signings, Man United can come back with a big time. We could end up with a completely different front three next season, a completely different midfield, a completely different right wing back, left wing back, a completely different goalkeeper. We can end up with that, can't we? So things can change pretty dramatically. And obviously the test is this summer, this window. The test is there. We're going to be watching with eagle eyes on obviously Ineos and stuff like that, isn't it? So let's wait and see. Edison. Edison will come good if we sell him a project. Absolutely. If we sold him a project, this is the thing. What Ineos need to do right now, which should be their prerogative, is to be on the phone to Gutierrez agent, Gutierrez entourage, his people. He should be on the phone right now. Ineos should be wheeling and dealing right now. I hope they are. I hope they are right now, wheeling and dealing right now. Selling Bruno is one thing. Right. But I don't want that money to go in the pocket of Glazers. This was my biggest fear. Right. I didn't want the money to go in the pocket of the Glazers, because we know that what Glazers are like, what Ineos are like, if we get 100 million for Bruno, where's that money going to go to? I want to see that money reinvested straight away. I want to see players coming through the door straight away. Whatever player it is, I believe that they know what they're doing. So if it's a player that they're bringing through the club, I'm sure that Ruben Amorim would have agreed to that player. So Whatever player it is, I want to see players coming into the football club. I want that 100 million to come in for Bruno, and I want to see players coming into the football club. Obviously, Man United will be shopping at the likes of Crystal Palace. And you know what? At that level is where Man United need to shop now. Man United need to look at the likes of Crystal Palace and look at the likes of Mateta, look at the likes of Adam Wharton. They need to look at that. Alex Ferguson would have done the same. Obviously, it's not going to be easy now, not European football. We're going to have to negotiate. We're going to have to throw money on wages, but that's life. And at the end of the day, if Ineos decided to back Ruben Amorim in January, we wouldn't be in this position. Maybe if Ineos, as I said many months ago, if Ineos decided to back Ruben Amorim, in January, we wouldn't be in this position right now. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. So there you go. But at the end of the day, what I would say is that time is education. Time is an education, and we're going to have to wait and see what happens, of course. And I hope that come the start of next season, we're in a position where we feel confident, we feel happy, we've got good signings, and we're going to be going off like a house on fire, and everything needs to change. The culture at the football club needs to change. As I've always said, the culture needs to change at the football club. The culture is a toxic mess at the football club at the end of the day. And that's what I would say about that, of course. But at the same time, what I would say is that, this all boils down to what Ineos plans are and ambitions are with the football club. Are they interested in a regeneration project only, or do they really want success from Manchester United? This is what I would say. And this is where we get the fraud watch thing going on, don't we? We get the chance to see what they really are all about. Look, last summer was, it was just a bedding in period. They had to do all this sweetness, from money Man United already earned. They still spent no money of their own. The money they spent of their own was already in the contract to buy Manchester United, and with Manchester United right now, with the further cutbacks of 200 jobs, it just shows you where we are as a football club at the end of the day, a toxic environment full of negativity. And, I hope that changes soon, but it just looks bleak at the moment. At Bell, what's going on, my friend? I'll be doing well. Please, by Daniel Munoz. Report to Man United, please, by Jossa Depinen. Report to Man United. Big up, Bell. Munoz, Crystal Palace player, of course, very good player. Absolutely. If you could bet Sal, do you see Mayu going? Can I be honest with you, Steve? Ever since that contract debacle with Kobe Mayu, I've always been a little bit skeptical about Kobe Mayu. Kobe Mayu performed so well in his first season, getting in the England squad after 6 months and obviously playing for England in major finals, since the start of the season, he has been poor. And I want to know why, because I don't just blame this on tactics. I don't. There's many players around the world who can play in various tactics. You're a footballer. Nothing stops you running. Nothing stops you tackling. Nothing stops you from performing at Manchester United at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And what I would say is that, the players need to look at themselves and take accountability. Mayu needs to look at himself and take accountability. Now, if he's rejected a contract, if he doesn't want to stay at Man United, then the door is open. That's what I would say. At this moment in time, I'm more like on the level of, if you don't want to play for Man United, there's the door. If you want money, you want to be a mercenary, there's the door. That's what I would say. And you know what? I'm a big fan of Mayu. I always have been a big fan of Mayu. The people know me. I'm a big fan of Garnacho. I'm a big fan of these. But I'm sorry, a lot of these players have really let me down this season. Rasmus has let me down this season. People know I supported Rasmus for a long time. So at the end of the day, look, you know what? They let me down this season at the end of the day. Our old management, please, don't get what you mean there. Gladiator, maybe we can do with a small squad, a few experienced signings and utilizing the young players. I agree, Gladiator. I mean, Man United don't need a big squad at the moment, Gladiator, because obviously we're not in European football, so we're going to be reducing the games by about 20. So, you know what? Yeah, we got a chance to concentrate on the league. We got a chance to see how it goes and stuff like that. We were never good enough for the Champions League. We know that. We weren't good enough. But it would have helped Man United to get that 100 million in if it was reinvested in the squad. Of course, not to mention sponsorship deals and stuff like that. That's a big miss, of course. But right now, this current time, when we look at things right now, we were never ready for the Champions League. In fact, I don't think we're ready to play two games a week. So what Man United need to do, they need to trim down that squad, as you said, Gladiator King. Trim down that squad, get the right players in, and then we just go for it. We go for the league next season. We really do. I'm not saying go for the championship. I mean, obviously, I'm a Man United fan. I always believe we should be challenging for the championship. But you know what? That doesn't always come to fruition at the end of the day, does it? Because we're not on that level. But what I would say is just go for the league, concentrate on the league, move up that table, and try and get into the top 4. Because I believe we can. I do. And if the right signings were made, I think we can do that. I think we can do that if the right signings were made. It doesn't mean about signing superstars. You know, that's not what it's all about. You know, it's not about signing superstars at the end of the day. It's about signing the right player, the right personality. You know what I mean? That's what I would say at the end of the day. Please, to love this club family. Big up Abel. Big up Abel. Thank you. De Ligt for captain. Yeah, Randy, if there was one player that I would pick as captain, it would be Matthijs de Ligt, of course. The only problem with Matthijs de Ligt, he has a little bit of an injury record, doesn't he? A little bit of an injury record and a little bit of a problem. As Rui, I don't think will be a bad shout for captain. I think he's been absolutely phenomenal this season. Never missed a game, you know, played during Ramadan. The guy is an absolute beast. Absolutely. You know, there are a few players in there. Licha Martinez, but injury again. Obviously, if you're going to be a captain, you got to play a lot of games, you know. The only other one I can think of is Casemiro. Casemiro being captain, obviously 5 times European champion. You know, so at the end of the day, there are a number of players there that could go for the captaincy, you know. Unfortunately, look, you know what? Good players have left this football club in the past. Great players have left this football club. More great players are going to leave this football club again. You know, there are going to be good players leaving this football club at the end of the day. Sniperman, so in your opinion, and what Saudi is a deal to think about and a deal to accept with eyes closed, I just think that sometimes you just have to move on from what, you know, even though you like something, you have to move on from it. Even though you feel for it, you have to move on for it. Bruno's 31 years old. We're not going to get that type of money at the moment. We're not in a position, guys, to be rejecting £100+ million at the moment. Unfortunately, we're not in that position. Man United are in a position now where they have to think about the team and build a team, not just individuals. You know, at the moment, we seem like a bunch of individuals. That's what we seem. Personally, I feel like the pressure of captaincy was getting to Bruno. I think the captaincy really put a lot of pressure on Bruno. And I just feel like, you know, the move is the right move for him now. And I feel like the move is the right move for Manchester United and move on and buy some new players more or less in their peak, you know. And with that money, you can work wonders. You can change the whole squad with that money. Do you know what I mean? You know, it just takes a spark, as I've always said. It just takes a spark to ignite something at the end of the day. Please help for the legend, her player for the club sporting marketing to buy good player. Please. Big up Abel. Don't know what you mean, Abel, but whatever, Abel, big up yourself. Gasperini, Atlanta coach Gasperini, please come to. No, we're not sacking the manager, Abel. No. Obviously, we'll have to get fewer games next season. Maybe we won't get as many players as we. Maybe we won't. But if for Man United to change, Man United need a complete different front line, different attacking options. Because the biggest problem when you look at Man United right now, and if you're going to pinpoint something that is the biggest problem at Man United, you would say the front three. You know, you would say the attacking players, and maybe one of the midfield. So you say about 4 players right there. So if Man United fill up those voids with 4 good players, Premier League experience or experienced players in general, you know that Man United are going to improve, don't you? You know that Man United are going to be better next season, you know, and you know, it just takes a spark. As I said, it's not about signing 10 players, you know. Of course, that'd be lovely, but that's not going to happen. Man United need a smaller squad, need to trim down the squad. Obviously, Eriksen's leaving, Lindelof's leaving, Evans is leaving. Those are 3 players that will be leaving already. Garnacho does look like the writings on the wall with Garnacho. He looks like he's leaving too, which is unfortunate. Young player leaving the football club. But at the end of the day, we don't need anyone who thinks he's bigger than the football club at the end of the day. That is what we need. We need to get away from this culture, this mentality. Do you know what I mean? So I think that Man United can improve immensely with a pre-season, with a few good signings in there. I think we can improve immensely. And, you know, with football's about confidence, but also football's about mentality and fighting for every game. You know, at this moment in time, Man United don't fight for every game. You'd be lying if you said we did. Man United they're the kings of down tooling. And that comes from the culture at the top. I've said this so many times about the representation at the top mirrors the bottom at the end of the day. And I just feel like until we get the right caliber of player in, not just talented players, but the right mentality, the people who want to play for the club. People want to play for the club. This is why I'm saying about Kobbie Mainoo, because, do you want to play for the football club that made you? If you don't want to play for this football club that made you, maybe you should go elsewhere because you're not the right mentality that we want. At the end of the day, do you think Napoli have an array of talent and world-class players? Of course they don't. They have a team. At the end of the day, it's a team. And, and we don't have a team. We have a bunch of individuals who like to cut in and shoot. Don't think about the team. Don't press. Don't together. Don't press as a unit. Don't move as a unit. We have so many problems at this football club. It's literally unreal. Big up, Steve. Sal, also, did you see the ISO Speeds met FIFA president? Didn't see it, mate. Didn't see it. Trina, I hope the silence from the clubs means that the recruiters are on the phones, right? Absolutely. Why do you think the press conference was delayed? Yeah, you know what, Trina? I would hope in a real world, in a world of happiness, and in a perfectly run football club world, that will be going on right now. You know what I mean? I would be hoping that would be going on right now. But we all know, as well as each other, right? We all know, as well as each other, that that's probably not happening. But things need to be moving up right now because there's so much that needs to be done at this football club. It's absolutely ridiculous what needs to be done at this football club. The amount of work that needs to be done, the players that need to leave, the players that need to come in. People don't even think about the players that need to leave because the players that need to leave are going to take up a lot of time as well. Trying to get rid of those players is not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, negotiations and stuff like that. And I hope that we have more than one person working on more than one deal at the moment, because I know that the Kuna deal is almost over the line and that probably be fixed up on the 1st of June, but then what? What else is going on? Are we going to just sit down and twiddle our thumbs, or are we going to go after another player or are we going to try and get rid of another player and get some money in and start doing that at the end of the day? If we do not qualify for the European competition next year, it will be difficult. You know what, Man United, the longer we're out of Europe, the more problematic it gets, doesn't it, Natalie? The more problematic it gets. Arsenal and Liverpool have already made 200 million from the Champions League. And whoever says that penny pinching and cost reduction equals success hasn't learned anything, doesn't know anything about business. Man United cost cutting is a big issue at Man United. And, it's not going to breed success. It's just going to move us slower and slower into mediocrity. Without 100 million of that Champions League money, of course, it does leave us in a bit of a mess. But you know what? This is Ineos. Ineos told us how much they care about this football club and how much they want to put Manchester back on the map and stuff like that, and put the Manchester back in Manchester United, whatever that means. And that's what they wanted to do. They want to bring Man United back. You know what? They're going to have to. I mean, they've got short arms at the moment. They've got short arms. They're willing to take, but they can't reach their pockets. That's the thing about Ineos at the moment. They got short arm syndrome. You know what I mean? Tyrannosaurus Rex syndrome. You know what Tyrannosaurus Rex syndrome is, guys? Tyrannosaurus Rex syndrome is someone like this, right? Who can take, but they can't reach their pocket to give. And that's basically what Ineos is. They have Tyrannosaurus Rex syndrome. And they don't want to spend money, but they want to take, So instead of using their own money, their billions to get players in, they will use sales to get money in. The same as the Glazers. The Glazers did the same. The Glazers did the same. The Glazers have never put a penny into this football club. Not one penny. Not one penny has gone out of their pocket for this football club. They've taken money at this football club. That's all they've done. And we needed owners who were going to inject liquidity into this football club. We needed owners that were going to spend money with their own money on this football club, which Qatar were willing to do, by the way. But unfortunately, good old Jim Ratcliffe came and facilitated the Glazers. Jim Ratcliffe don't support Man United, by the way. I will tell you that right now. He does not care about Man United. Let me tell you right now, this Manc born and bred. So what, you're Manc born and bred? I know loads of people from Manchester don't like football. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it doesn't mean that he supports Manchester United. I mean, that's one of many lies, of course. Ineos' biggest mistake in the summer was not to sign Amrabat, letting Scooby-Doo leave and not letting the left back. At the end of the day, Randy, letting Scooby-Doo leave, whatever. But the thing is that Man United weren't good with Scooby-Doo, were we? We weren't good with that player. But one thing is for certain, we didn't replace these players, Randy. That's the biggest thing. You know, we didn't replace these players with quality players. I wouldn't have sold McTominay. That wasn't a Erik Ten Hag decision. That was an Ineos decision. You know, so at the end of the day, we didn't replace him, did we? Who did we replace McTominay with? You know, at the end of the day, you know, who did we replace Anthony and Rashford with? We didn't replace these players. So you're looking at Anthony, you're looking at Ruben Amorim, right? And you're looking at Erik Ten Hag, and you're looking at Ruben Amorim. Say, oh, but Ten Hag done better. Ten Hag had Anthony, Ten Hag had Rashford, Ten Hag had Malacia, Ten Hag had McTominay, Ten Hag had Amrabat. Who did Ruben Amorim have? Ruben Amorim had Dorgu. Like for like, Malacia Dorgu. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So, look, you know what? These things people don't concentrate at the end, you know, and hindsight's a beautiful thing as well. I would say that. And football culture is a beautiful thing. Napoli, as a guy connected to Napoli, right? Napoli are a well-run football club. They're a football club. Man United are a commercial club. Man United are a business. Napoli are a football club. Napoli wouldn't allow the Glazers to come into Manchester United and do what they've been doing for 20 years. They wouldn't allow that. You know what I mean? So what McTominay has happened with McTominay, he's gone into a football club. You know? Left wing crosser, right wing crosser, best header, best goalkeeper, best centre back, Abel. Also, Anthony is getting man of the match after man. Exceptional. It's La Liga, Sniper Man. We beat Athletic Bilbao 7-1 on aggregate, mate. You know what I mean? Jonathan David would be a great signing. I don't know. No one wants him. I don't want, which is a reason for that. I don't want Bruno. Bruno needs to leave now, obviously. Of course, guys, absolutely. Why is this club always leaving the managers alone? Why do they do not speak about the situation? This is the problem, isn't it? And this is why the managers get the blame all the time, because people tend to blame the person who's in front of the TV camera. They don't blame behind the scenes. Why are Baralsford? I mean, they were all mouth, weren't they? When they came into the football club, they were all mouthy. They were all talking about things. They're talking a good game, weren't they? They're speaking a good game. You know what I mean? And they were talking about, excellence and fine margins. And we heard all these things happening. Where are they gone? Where have they gone? Where's Brailsford? Where's the explanation? Where's Brada? Where's the explanations? Where's Wilcox? Where's Vivell? Where's, Jim Ratcliffe has gone silent, and then we're seeing Paul Scholes and Gary Neville shaking the hand and Alex Ferguson shaking the hand of the Glazers who single-handedly destroyed this football club. And they're there in front of the camera shaking the hand of the devil. That's what they're there. They're shaking the hand of the guys who single-handedly destroyed this football club. Next time Gary Neville, the next time Paul Scholes, the next time anyone comes near this football club, that Old Trafford, you make them accountable. They're to blame as well. I don't care if they're legends. I don't care. Shaking the hand. Oh, yeah, look, we're going to go for dinner later. It was good to see you, mate. To the Glazers. To the Glazers. What are we? What are we as a football club? What are we? Weak. You know what I mean? Weak. It was sad to see Spurs fans laughing at a legend like Alex while the trophy was lifting. Look, at the end of the day, Gladiator, Alex is part of this mess. The Glazers, the Rock of Gibraltar, learn the story. At the end of the day, Alex Ferguson will forever be a legend, but you know what? At the end of the day, this is partly him. He also was responsible for David Moyes. And as much as I love Sir Alex Ferguson, we need to look at that as well and hold him accountable for that. He's too old now. We can't do anything about it, and we thank him for the success he brought to Man United. But he could also be a big part of our downfall as well, Shaking the hand of the Glazers, never calling out the Glazers, never holding the Glazers accountable. They're good people, blah, 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 I'm giving Amorim 10 games, and if we are not in the top 6, I'm going to turn on him. Randy, it's fair enough. It's up to you, mate. At the end of the day, I'm not going to give him 6 games. I'm going to give him to about Christmas, Randy. We should see an improvement next season. If there's no improvement, then you know what? People have every right to start questioning him. Only, Randy, if is backed in the summer. We need to look at that as well, Rand. If he's backed in the summer, is he going to be backed in the summer? You know, if he's not backed, if we come into the season with the same Luke Shaw, with the same Maguire, Lindelof's not going to be there, but, you know, Dalot and all these players and Rasmus and, you know, all these players, we're coming into next season with these players, then how are we going to turn these players, how are we going to improve? As I said, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, you know, you can't turn Erasmus into a prime R9. You know, it's going to be, it's hard. Big up Abdul, big up my friend, big up. Absolutely, big up. Not too many spamming, please, my friend Abdul. No spamming, please, mate. Abel, no spamming on the channel, please. I do not think it will be changed the culture as long as the Glazers are here. It will affect you when you see the people losing their job. Of course it does, Natty. It creates a toxicity within the football club, you know, as well as people working at the football club doing 2-3 jobs doing a job that one person doing a job of 3. You know, it's going to affect the culture at the football club. It's going to hurt the atmosphere, the morale. You know, Man United always used to be a football club, right from the caffeine reception all the way to the top. There used to be a culture at this football club that was really beautiful, to be honest with you. It was a family atmosphere. Man United, everyone knew each other. You know, even when I used to go to Old Trafford, no matter who I used to sit next to, whether I was in the Stretford end, I was in the South Stand, wherever I was, you know what, it was beautiful, guys. That, you know, I never forget it, you know, and the atmosphere was just, it was good. When we scored a goal, you'd be hugging someone you don't even know. You'd be like, you know, hugging people coming behind you, hugging you like this. You know what I mean? And it was just such a good place to be. Old Trafford was a beautiful place. It was, you know, as a fan base, we were united and we were united for one cause. And nowadays, we're just not. We're just, you know, we're division. We're toxic. We're I'm right, you're wrong. You know, we're arguing amongst each other, you know, and things like that. We need to come to a common ground, and we need to understand where Manchester United are, you know, and learn what the problems have been over the last few years. You know what I mean? And the problems have been, you know, getting worse and worse since the 13 years, and the problems have been becoming more and more toxic, and it's been going on for nearly a decade now. The toxicity within the club, you know. Steve, if we sell players, do you trust Ineos to buy the right players at this time? Steve, I'm going to have to... I don't trust any of those, to be honest with you. I don't trust any of those guys to make the right decisions. That's no... it's their duty, Steve, to prove me wrong. It's their duty to show me that they mean business. And that's all I would say. It's their duty. You know, we should really know what Ineos are all about within the first couple of weeks of the transfer window. We should really know what's going on. We should really know, at the moment, it doesn't bode well how long it's taking to get this Kuna deal over the line. Look at Liverpool, almost got Florian Wirtz. He's a £100 million player, Florian Wirtz, by the way. You know, and they've just got, quickly does it. You know, they move like a boss. That's how they should be moved. That's how a top club should be moving. We're not moving like a boss. We're moving like a bloody, loser. You know, that's what we are. You know, and I never thought I'd come to this situation where I'll be calling Man United losers, because we are losers. All those players on the pitch are losers. They're not winners. And that goes for the board as well. You know, how can you let our greatest rivals steal a march on Man United again, even when they're champions? They're still improving, and not improving, significantly improving. Frimpong, best right wing back in the world. We needed him. Florian Wirtz, best attacking player, one of the best up and coming young players in the world. We needed him. But who improves here? Liverpool. Like for like. Trent Alexander gone. Frimpong in. Simply does it. That's it. They're building for the future. And what are we doing? Twiddling our thumbs, doing nothing. It's a disgrace, isn't it? Gladiator King. Leacher would have punched on his face all our players who were played in the final. He was on the pitch. He won't stand for this lazy performance. Leacher is Gladiator King. I think it's highly underrated how much we missed Leacher Martinez this season. Leacher Martinez is a fantastic player. One of the few players who give 100%, which is why he keeps getting injured. He's one of the few players who gave 100% at the football club. You know? And we missed him this season. We missed him, the left-sided centre-back. We missed him immensely. Unfortunately, he's injury-prone. And what do we do with Licha Martinez now? Hopefully he comes back next season and he gets no injuries. But obviously, what the older you get, the more injury prone you get, the more problems you're going to have, isn't it? So I really hope Licha Martinez stays, and I hope that he stays injury free. Because he's so important to this team, Gladiator. I agree. The mentality of this team, the winning environment, that thing where you don't give up. Come on. We wouldn't have lost the final if Licha Martinez was playing. Of course we wouldn't. Luke Shaw, Licha Martinez, of course we wouldn't have lost the final. We've probably been further up the league as well. We know how important Licha Martinez is, Big up Abel. Abel, Allah, please, for the club by old manager. Abel, I asked you a month ago, Sal, where do you see United finish this season? You said top 6, Sal. Have you changed your have you changed your opinion, Sal? Where do you see? Ask your man, where do you see finishing the next season? Top 6. I haven't changed my mind, Steve. I stick by that, Steve. I don't flip flop, Steve. I said top 6. I do believe it. I've got a feeling Ruben will work miracles next season if he stays. But I did also say, Steve, that depends on the transfer window, didn't I? So obviously, it depends what our transfer window is like. If we're going at the end of the transfer window and we're all disillusioned, then we're going, oh, this has been a poor, this has been bad, like 2022-23, I think it was, when we had a bad transfer window. You know what I mean? If it's going to be a bad transfer window, then obviously I don't see any difference or much difference, maybe a slight improvement, but not much difference. Man United need to make signings, then I'm confident we can get in the top 6. I think if Ruben Amorim got 5 or 6 of his players, even 3 or 4, if we're going to buy proper players, if we bought Cherki, Kuna, Gutierrez, and you know what I mean, and Wharton or something like that, or Matata up front, then you're going to be looking at Man United thinking, yeah, you know what I mean, we're attacking threat. You know what I mean? But if we go into next season with Rasmus and Garnacho, or Rasmus and Eriksson, Eriksson's leaving, but Rasmus, we ain't even got players now. You can't even say it now. If Bruno's leaving, Rasmus and Ahmad. I mean, and guys, look, Ahmad still isn't the finished article. Ahmad is not anywhere near good enough either. You know what I mean? We need to remember that Ahmad is an impact player at the moment. I like Ahmad, but at the end of the day, we need to stop holding these players on a big pedestal too early. You know what I mean? Just like we held Mayu on a big pedestal. You know what I mean? And look what's happened at the end of the day. The ego gets to these players. Good morning, fan. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Matteo Rodriguez, a striker, good player. Axel North, right wing back. Hugo Larsson, midfield. Sebastian Inassi, midfield. Best money can buy. Stephen, very, very good players. If Man United did that, it would be lovely, wouldn't it, Mr. Collet? I would like that. The most important thing I would like, Stephen, is to be in a position in August where we're like excited. We're excited, we're giddy, we're enthusiastic because we've had a really good summer. I want to be in this position where I'm like this, right? I want to be in this position where I'm saying, you know what, I'm not a big fan of Ineos, but you know what, by my, they smashed it this summer. That's what I want to be like. You know what I mean? They smashed it this summer. I'm not the biggest fan of Ineos, but they smashed it this summer. You have to admit. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to be. That's the level. That's where I want to be. I don't want to be on a constant negativity train of, you know what, this, that. I want to concentrate on football. That's what I want to concentrate on. And unfortunately, whilst the Glazers are here, we seem to be concentrating on the business side of things and what's going on at the top. You know what I mean? And obviously, it doesn't help what's going on the football pitch. But I really, hopefully, for Manchester United's sake, the sanity of the fans' sake, that we have a good summer, we sign good players, and we're ready for next season. We have a nice, easy game at the start of the season. You know what I mean? We play a nice home game. We win 3-0, 4-0, and we move on. And that's what I want at the end of the day. This season started off relatively slow. Obviously, we beat Fulham in the first game of the season. It seems like 10 years ago now that we beat Fulham, isn't it? It seems like years ago we beat them. 1-0, Xerxes last-minute goal, if you remember. I put that down to form. I put that down to fitness and stuff like that. But you could see even then that, we weren't good. And there was a big problem. And that was under Ten Hag, Any update on Matheus Cunha? Kevin, don't be surprised if Matheus Cunha gets announced on the 1st of June when the transfer window opens. The thing with Ineos, they're very good at keeping their cards close to their chest. The transfer window opens on the 1st of June. So obviously, Ineos have read the room, the elephant in the room, so to speak. Ineos have read the room in regards to announcing the transfer straight after the Europa League final, because many people predicted that we would sign Cunha after the Europa League final. Obviously, that would be a very bad thing because people were clocked onto the positivity vibes and stuff like that. The deal is not done. It's not. Changes have been made. Champions League has made a difference, contrary to popular belief. So Man United still need to wheel and deal that deal, but I believe that deal will be done by the 1st of June. Definitely. And we'll be announcing Kuna. But I don't want us to just be announcing Kuna. I want us to be announcing other players as well. Liverpool have already signed more or less 2 players. You know what I mean? And they will announce Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz, of course, it's always been announced. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. And I want us to counter and do our best to get our players in. We're not going to get players on the likes of Florian Wirtz now, of course not. But, at least get players that we can be confident and say that they're going to improve Man United, Bruno didn't want to pass to Nacho in the final, and it was criminal. This is the problem, Randy, isn't it? This is the problem that we've been facing for a long time. Ever since Erik ten Hag was the manager of Manchester United, we've had this problem, cultural problem again. Players not passing to each other, players not wanting to pass to each other, players not getting on with each other and stuff like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, Man United are a toxic mess, and this is what it is. Andy Cole and Teddy Sheringham famously didn't like each other, but they still passed to each other. They still fought for each other. They still won a treble and won league titles together, because it's all about Manchester United. It's all about the fans, the club, the heritage, the history. That's what it's all about. But unfortunately, including Bruno, these players seem to care about only themselves, which is why I take you back to the Lyon game when Man United were 4-4. And then, Casemiro got the ball. If it was Bruno, he would have took a shot. Casemiro picked out the pass from Maguire, which made it 5-4. There are a few players in our team that, deep down, when you deep it, are still a problem as well. Who's to blame? When a ship sinks, guys, I want to ask you this question. When a ship sinks, who's to blame? When a ship is sinking, who's to blame? Right? Who's to blame? Where do you look for first? Starts with C. Freya, Man United needs to add a few defensive and attacking midfielder, left and right winger, and a striker. Yeah, Man United need a lot, Freya. Absolutely. Man United do need a lot of strikers, a left and right winger. I don't think we need a left with winger. I don't. Diego Leon, we got there. Dorgu's going to come good. I really rate Dorgu. I think he was brilliant in the final. I would say that we need a right wing back. Yeah, definitely. Been saying that for ages, though. So, as we don't have the usual amount of money to spend, would Man United to free agents? I don't believe in no money. I don't believe in that. I believe that Ineos are manipulating the fan base and they're falling for it. These 200 jobs cutbacks are just to manipulate. Why do you think they're cutting back 200 people? It's manipulation. It's manipulation. Let me tell you why. Right? And this is how you deep it, right? When people think deep, this is how you deep it. Manipulation. Cut 200 jobs. What does that do for the fan base? We got no money. We got no money. They've got money. They've got money. But they're doing that to create an illusion that they have no money. Right? They don't care about 30, 40 grand a year. You know what I mean? They're doing that to create the illusion that they have no money. That is how I take it. That's my spin on things. Will they allow Amran to do the same as did, get rid of 25 players and bring in players who wants to play football and win like he did at Sporting Lisbon, fan? What I would say is that it's what's needed, fan. It's what's needed, bro. This is something that has been needed for a long, long time. Unfortunately, we've never done it. As I said yesterday's show, we've never done the right thing. We've never stuck by a plan and got rid of 20, 25 players like Ruben Amorim did. Man United need that. Sadly, but they do. I wanted a lot of these players to succeed at Man United, more than anything. I like all these players. I like Dalot. I like these players' personalities. I like Onana's personality. I like Rasmus as a personality. I've spoken to Rasmus on Instagram, and I like them. I worked with Bruno's brother, for 2 years. I like the family. I like him. But the thing is, doesn't bring trophies. We've just had our worst position since 1974. And even that 1974 team will smash up this team. And I'm looking at it now and saying that, now we have to clean up shop. We have to clear house. That's what we have to do. Whether we do that is another story. But it is a godsend, fan. 25 players. I think it doesn't need to be that drastic. It needs to be about 10, players need to leave the football club. We've already got Ericsson. We've already got Evans. We've already got Lindelof. Garnacho might go, as we know. Anthony might go. Rashford might go. Then we need to look at Mason Mount, Luke Shaw, these players right there. These players, maybe Dalot, Anana, that's 10 right there. We need to look at those players, 10 just there, just off the cuff. And I'm not even mentioning Malacia, you know what I mean? And maybe even a Casemiro who's on 370,000 a week. I'm not mentioning these type of players. I'm not mentioning these players yet. And this is what I would say. If we're going to change Man United, we have to really pull out all the stocks. We have to pull out all the stocks. That's what we have to do, at the end of the day. Let me just read this tweet. Big up, Prazen. Andre Ratcliffe. Big up, Kenny. I don't blame Nacho for wanting out. Look, Randy, I don't blame Nacho for wanting out. I don't disagree with what Nacho said. But what I disagree with, and this is exactly what I'm saying, what the problem is at this football club right now, and I'm going to hold Nacho in the same vibe as I did with Sancho and as I did with Rashford. I don't discriminate. I don't have favorites. I don't have player FC. What I'm going to say is what Nacho did was wrong. Garnacho, as much as people think he wants out, good for him. He still was part of the worst Manchester United football club since 1974. He played 90% of the games with 6 goals and what, 2 assists? In how many games? Now, excuse me for being a little bit dramatic here, but you know what? That doesn't make you invincible, does it? Undroppable, does it? You can have your problem, and partly I agree with Garnacho. You can have your issues with Man United and Ruben Amorim, but don't air your dirty laundry in public, especially going to ESPN who don't like us. You go to ESPN, you air your dirty laundry in public. Why not do this, right? Go to Ruben Amorim. Say, Ruben, I'm not happy. I was dropped for the game. I played this many games. I've contributed to United getting to the final. I'm not happy. And if Ruben Amorim disagrees, then I want to be on the transfer list. Do that. And then Ruben will put him on the transfer list. Why do you have to make everything about yourself? We just lost the European final. Why do you have to make everything about yourself? It's not about you, Garnacho. Go to the manager and speak. Don't go to the media. It's completely wrong. And that is exactly what is wrong at this football club. That is precisely what is wrong at this football club. No problem, Abel. Hope you're doing well. Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're good, Abel. Hope you're good. Thank you so much for joining the stream, my guy. Thank you. United, and it's still business investment for SJ, nothing more. It is, Irfan, I agree. And I can't agree with that. It's a business investment. And anyone, I'm still waiting, Irfan, for those people, who backed Ineos throughout the last year blindly because he's Manc born and bred. I'm still waiting for those people to apologize to me. Because at the end of the day, they got it wrong. They're getting it wrong, obviously. I mean, look at them. They're running Man United like a pound shop, not like the biggest football club in the world. Gladiator, it's strange that after 12 years of mismanagement, United is still the most valuable club in the world. And now imagine this, Gladiator. Imagine this. Imagine Qatar bought the football club. Imagine they cleared the debt. Imagine how sustainable Man United would be. Imagine the money Man United will make organically if Qatar took the football club. Imagine it. Powerful beyond belief. At this moment, as you said, Gladiator, in our worst moment, we still make money. Now, imagine we had no debt. Imagine we had the Qataris who are spending their own money as well, by the way. Imagine the potential that Man United could have. Now it's like, you're looking at it, it's like this. You're looking at it and you're like, really? Is it? And you're waking up every morning thinking that, 1 times 1 equals 10. At the end of the day, you're like, it's not going to work. And you're thinking in your head. And that's when conspiracies start to happen. That's when people start to make up things and they get angry. And obviously people don't trust Ineos. And I don't trust Ineos. And they haven't gained our trust, unfortunately. They made this year as a package, let's be real, guys, has been an absolute disaster. It's been a disaster. An absolute nightmare. Let's be honest, guys. Rank Ineos time out of 10. Rate Ineos time out of 10, guys, right now. Since the summer, and some think they had a decent summer, to now, rank it out of 10. Big up, Gladiator. So you said Napoli are a well-managed club, but they are wants out. Osman fell out with the bald sniper man. And they obviously are a well-run club because they didn't lose in the Champions League, did they? They won the league. Sniper Man. They won the league, Sniper Man, ahead of Inter Milan. We're at Inter Milan right now. Champions League final. Not that bad, is it? You know, we're not in the Champions League final. Barcelona are not in the Champions League final. Lamine Yamal is not in the Champions League final. You know what I mean? Inter did them. So who are Napoli? You know, at the end of the day, they won the league. They won the Scudetto. They're a well-run club, mate. Anyone who thinks about Napoli, and I know about Napoli are not a well-run club, is just idiotic. You know, players leave. That's life. At least Napoli had the cojones to sell Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen and still win the league. So who's wrong here? You know? Well managed. Well. In regards to up the top, as I said, the top is where it comes from. In regards to at the top of the club, of course. Must be send a delegation to Qatar, convince them. Must. I mean, all of these guys, man, they're too nice. Honestly. Fine margins, absolutely, Kenny, exactly. Can someone tell me what Browser's purpose is at the football club? Fine margins, fan. Fine margins. Since Nevo and Scholes became pundits, then nothing's good. I don't mind what they say, to be honest, because I ignore it, Irfan. I'll be real. But what I didn't like, Irfan, the other day, if you didn't see the video, them shaking hands with Ineos, with the Glazers and Ineos, them shaking hands, laughing and giggling, smiling, along with Sir Alex Ferguson. And there were lip readers there. They said that they were talking about dinner, going to dinner. They need to be held accountable. So these ex-legends, the only legends at Man United, right, who came out before the game and gave a rallying cry for Man United to win that Europa League. The only players that came out were Patrice Evra, after his sister had died, and Rio Ferdinand. Those were the only two ex-players who came out and said, come on, United. Those were the only two. Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, none of these people came out, come on, United. All of a sudden, I'm hearing Roy Keane's a Tottenham supporter. I never heard about Roy Keane being a Tottenham supporter for 30 years. All of a sudden, he's a Tottenham supporter. Mate. These guys were just lucky they walked into a football team in the 90s that had a structure that anyone could have walked into that football club and won. Let me tell you that right now. Even if we didn't have Gary Neville, we didn't have Paul Scholes, we didn't have Roy Keane, we still would have won. And we did. Proof is in the pudding. We won with Cleverly. We won with Brez Brown. We won with bloody, what's his name? Darren Fletcher. Gibson. We won with these players. You know what I mean? At the end of it, so they think they're invincible. They're not. They're not. Brailsford is a mascot. It's just a prop, mate. Big up, Abel. Yeah, big up, my friend. Big up. Gladiator. Brighton was good to City only because their owners had a particular manager structure. Structure, exactly. Culture, and structure. My guy, Gladiator. Culture and structure. Spot on. Absolutely. Nati. I do not think they want to win trophies. They want their own legacy only. That's what I think, Nati. This is what the stadium is, isn't it? This is the stadium. This is the vanity project. The Sir Jim Ratcliffe Stadium. Don't be surprised, guys. The Ineos Stadium. Don't be surprised. Sir Jim Ratcliffe Way. Don't be surprised if that happens, guys. Don't be surprised if that happens because you know anything can happen at this football club right now. Big up, Abel. Big up, big up. I do not like journalists on Manchester United. They are so negative on Manchester United, especially Manchester, even the news, as we know, are really bad. Nati, of course. Sal, is the story that emerging that Sheikh Jassim could launch an £8 billion full takeover of Manchester United is true? I'm going to Qatar, Brassen, in July. I'm going to be speaking to a few people over there. You know what? The Qataris are very secret people. Let me tell you something about it, Brassen. The reason that Sheikh Jassim Hamid would not speak, would not go to the media, because they're not very media people. They're shy people. They're not like, look at me, I'm Jim Ratcliffe, you know, with my lunchbox and my £3 jacket. You know, they're very secret. They're very humble people. So they're not the sort of people to go out there ranting and raving and do this, do that. They'll subtly do things. So I'll be in Qatar in July. And I will be meeting some people, speaking to some people, of course. I mean, to try and get the latest news. If I had the money, I'd buy the football club. Do you know what I mean? I don't, so I can't buy the football club at the end of the day, you know. But I'm going to see what happens. But you know what? The problem is, Prazen, mate. The problem is, and I'll tell you what this problem is. Jim Ratcliffe has an ego that is inflated to the sky. But what can happen is this. Qatar can buy the football club, the shares from the Glazers. If Qatar buy I think it's 51% from the Glazers, the shares from the Glazers. If Qatar buy the shares from the Glazers, they can get rid of Ineos. They'll sack Brailsford. They'll sack Barada. They'll sack all those people. They get rid of them. Get their own people in. Because they'll own the football club. You know? They'll take away the responsibility of Ineos. That's what they'll do. Right, Ineos, you are no longer in charge of Manchester United dealings. We own the majority of the football club. And then Ineos would have to sell, because Ineos, it won't have any benefit for them to have the football club. It'd be expensive for them to have the football club. They won't have any incentive to have the football club. So if Qatar buy the shares from the Glazers, then it will happen. But obviously we know that the Glazers are obsessed with this regeneration project. So we need to hope, fingers crossed, that Manchester Council reject this regeneration project, which it doesn't look likely, because obviously Jim Ratcliffe has contacts in Manchester about the regeneration project, and he has the right people in the right places. So that's the problem. But money talks at the same time. So if Sheikh Jassim Hamid and the Qatari consortium come in and they bid 8 billion, it's going to be very, very hard for the Glazers to turn it down. But it's a godsend, Prazen. We need it. Absolutely. Funny thing is, Ineos put structures in place immediately on his arrival, as in the business changes brings out positivity and jets fresh new hope of success. Instead, we are going backwards. Severely, fan, we're going backwards. We're going backwards like no one's business. My goodness me, like unbelievably going backwards. We're in reverse right now. We're in reverse. You know, and we ain't even got into first gear at the moment, you know, and it's scary. Absolutely. Big up, Cindy. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Man United is a brand. The Glazers have the logo on everything, and people will buy it. They know this, so they will never leave. This is the problem, Cindy. This is the problem. You're spot on. And as I said, when people were talking about relegation, people were talking about relegation the other day, about how Man United will be better off with relegation. The Glazers will leave. They won't. Man United will still sell jerseys. Man United will still sell 77,000 every single week. Man United will still sell season tickets. Man United will still sell jerseys. All the Glazers need to do is strike some more business deals. You know, business deals, you know, on training kits, on socks, on trainers, on this, with other entities, with other companies and other institutions. That's all they need to do. Another thing the Glazers can do is they can sell players, big players at Man United, you know, to recoup the money. The Glazers have a big cash milking machine in Manchester United, and they're not going to leave. Thank you, Sir Alex Ferguson, but they're not going to leave. You know, the only way they're going to leave is if Qatar come in with an astronomical amount of money, like 8 billion, maybe even more, and buy the football club like outright. The biggest problem we have as a fan base is that we're not very scary. We're not intimidating. If we were Inter Milan, if we were Napoli, if we were any one of those teams, they would have been gone a long time ago. Even Liverpool, they would be gone a long time ago. When we do these protests, they're a bit like a Glazer PR campaign. That's all they are. They're not like an intimidating protest. It's not intimidating enough. We want Glazers out. Say, we want Glazers out. We want Glazers out. So what? So what? I get called worse on Twitter. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we need to do far better. And we need to be far more, you know what I mean, on it, in my opinion. MB, what's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. We were down for a while because of the Glazers and Inos. It's true, mate. We can't argue with that. Absolutely. I wish it was untrue. Nacho, Ahmed, and Hoyland are no guarantees for next season. Amram will release them. At the moment, Irfan, no one's untouchable at this football club. Bruno will leave. I've spoken to Bruno's brother, guys, exclusive. And yeah, does look like it's going to happen. You know, it looks like it's going to happen. He's considering it. You know, and he's not going to be in next season. But I don't care, to be honest. You're the captain of a ship that came 16th. You're the captain of the ship. You sunk the ship. I'm not bothered, you know. Really not. Seen better players leave. Ciao. I asked why some fans trust Ineos. The reason that we are in the mess because of the rat did deal with the Glaze. Absolutely. Keep the debt for another 200 plus employees lost their job. They can't answer it. They won't answer it, Ciao. Their ego prevents them from doing that. They won't answer it. I expect a positive goal difference and better brand of football. Wouldn't it be nice to score some goals, Kenny? You know, scoring goals is like finding gold at the moment for Man United. Absolutely. Big up everyone who's joined me today. Guys, that is me today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. Thank you so much. Guys, you're absolute legends. Sorry I can't read out all the messages. Got loads of messages there. Sorry, guys, but I agree with most of you guys. I agree with you. It's absolutely spot on. Now, here's where the nitty-gritty happens, isn't it? After the Aston Villa game, this is where we're going to get on Fraud Watch. Ineos will be on Fraud Watch. And we will be there. We will be there. And watch this space. After the Aston Villa game, as I told you guys, there will be some big news coming out. Maybe a week, maybe a few days, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks after. There will be huge news coming out of Man United this summer. Huge. Right? So, guys, watch this space. I'm going to be off now, but please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Smash a like on the video. And don't forget to put your notifications on as well when I go live, guys. Of course, I go live inconsistently sometimes, so don't forget to do that as well. Much love to you all. Thank you all for joining me today. Really appreciate every single one of you. I have to go now. Obviously, it's gone over the hour, but I have to be off and got a meeting. Guys, thank you so much. Have a good day and enjoy it. Happy Saturday. And I'll see you later on today for Chatterbox. Peace.